Hey, what's up guys? Jake with Legacy 4x4 here again, and today we're going to be doing just a update video on the Willys. So we got a lot of small projects, a little bit of tube work to do, and we're going to finish this video off by giving the Willys the cheapest paint job you've ever seen. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing we got to do is mount the windshield. The windshield's going to be in the way of some of the other tube work, so we're going to start by getting the windshield in place first. For the rear screen thing that I did on the Willys, I plasma cut out a large bracket to use, and that's what I ended up using to bolt that rear windshield into place. The front's not going to be quite as easy because it's kind of got a weird angle to it. So we're going to be using some of this 2" by 1/8" flat bar stock that I picked up at the steel supplier, and we're going to basically frame out two sections of the windshield on the front to kind of cover where this bend is, and then we're just going to throw some bolts through it and bolt it in like that. Super simple design, but should work pretty well for what this is. Anyways, let's go ahead and measure the front of the Willys, cut this flat bar to length, and we'll start welding it onto the front of the Willys where the windshield belongs. Alright, so I know you guys can't see it because it's clear plexiglass, but this is the windshield completely finished. This will obviously come out once I go paint, so I can paint these little supports underneath it. Super simple little design, not very complex, but it'll work and it does what it needs to do. It's just a windshield just to really protect debris from coming up into the cab. That's really about it. The truck's obviously not watertight, so it's not for any of that kind of stuff. It's just to really keep those flying debris from coming in and hitting somebody in the face. Alright, so with the windshield done, I was going to move straight into doing some of the tube work, but instead I've decided I'm going to paint the back half of the Willys and give it a chance to dry, and then I'll move forward and do the front half later on. This also prevents me from having to do the entire thing in one go and kind of breaks up the monotony of having to paint. My wife's going to come out here and come help me, and we're going to do the world's cheapest paint job you've ever seen on a pickup truck. I'm keeping the paint job cheap just simply because I don't really care too much about the looks of this truck. It's really just to prevent rust from rusting any of that new metal. Ultimately, this truck is going to be a beater. It's going to be used off-road. It's going to be used and abused, and it's going to get dings on it. It's going to get scratches on it. So we're not really too worried about what the paint job at the end of the day looks like. Something like the Commando, that gets a professional paint job. This gets a spray can paint job in the shop. Anyways, with that done, now I've got to knock out a few pieces of tube work. So I've got to do the top runners that go over the top of the cab up here that connects onto this. I got to do the support pieces from here down to here, and I'm also got to do just a little bit more tube work right up here in the top center of the cab. Not too much work, but let's go to knock that out next. Alright, so there it is. I'll give you guys a walk around of the truck here in a second, but we are all finished up for the day. This is as far as I could get, and this is as much time as I have this weekend to work on this truck. Let me go ahead and show you guys what this looks like, all finished up. See? We got a nice little blue Willys logo back here, highlighted out that my wife did for it to match the blue of the truck. Up front, we did the entire cab in a dark matte blue, and then all of the new metal work is just a flat black. Very simple, very clean. This is not a show truck by any means. As you can see, like, the paint's not perfect, but it works for what this is. And for being just a super cheap paint job, this is definitely going to do exactly what we want it to do. Up here you can see the remainder of the tube work that we have up here, showing off how all these tubes all connect together and are all supported. I know usually you want to do a V in the center there, but I also wanted to have access to the windshield bolts, so I went and said with just a solo bar, it'll be just fine. There is one really ugly weld up top there. That tube did not fit perfectly, and I did not have any more DOM, so we made it work. It'll get some gussets in the future. That's it though. That's the truck in all of its glory now. Alright, so we didn't get quite as far as I wanted to get this weekend, but I'm still waiting on some parts which are going to be holding up my progress. They come in on Monday, unfortunately, so we knocked out a lot of this stuff that we could get to today. I feel a lot better now that the truck is painted, it's protected from rust, and any small stuff that I have to do at this point moving forward, I can just scrape off the paint, weld on something, and then retouch it up too easy. This truck is a beater truck, like I mentioned. This truck is not supposed to be a show truck. It's not supposed to be outstanding to look at. It's supposed to be a good off-roader that I can take and that I don't have a lot invested into, so that I can use it without feeling bad about breaking it. If I ever really needed like a hardcore off-roader that I cared about a lot, it's going to be the Commando when I get that back. So in the meantime, I got a project like this, which is going to do exactly what I want it to do. It's going to look exactly the way I want it to look. I know the paint job's not perfect. We just painted over top of that rusted old metal, but it's what we had, it's what we were working with, and I didn't care enough to sit there and strip the whole thing out and Bondo it and make it look beautiful. Next week, we're moving right along to steering. As you guys kind of saw, I got some of the steering parts mocked up right now. I went ahead and painted, and I've got now just to mount the steering box, fix the tie rod and the drag link, and then mount the actual steering shaft between the steering column and the steering gearbox. We got a few more accessory stuff that we'll do in that video too, such as mount these lights that are sitting on the table here, and a couple other small things as well. Again, we're trying to knock out progress on this thing as quickly as possible. I got a pile of parts sitting behind the camera there just waiting to be installed, so as time becomes available, we're just going to start crushing through projects on this Willys. And before we know it, this truck is going to be outside my driveway and it's going to get ready for its first official test run. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.